Hey, all you nerds out there in Nerdland, this is David.
And this is Tim.
And we're from Johnny Has the Keys podcast, a podcast where horror and sci-fi shape our lives.
You're listening to Josh and Tyler of the 30 and Nerdy podcast, where they discuss, debate, and break it down with nerd culture and the nerds that reside there. If you like listening to these guys, consider coming over to the dark side with us on your favorite podcast platform of choice.
Cheers to you, nerds, and don't forget your keys.
Welcome to the 30 and Nerdy podcast, brought to you by Advertising Expressions, Creative Theater, Akita Express, and Encore Theatrical Company. Visit us online at 30andnerdypodcast.com. Drop us an email at 30andnerdypod@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Become a patron of the show at patreon.com/30nerdypodcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. And now, sit back, relax, and get ready to nerd out with your hosts, Josh Davis and Tyler McDaniel.
What's up, nerds and nerdettes? This is the podcast where everyone knows your name.
Cheers
to ya.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Tyler, and this is 30 and Nerdy. And we are coming at you from the Fortress of Nerditude with yours truly, the registered nerd practitioner, the founder of Nerdledge, the Nerdpolian Bonaparte of Morristown, the Mac. And joined by my co-host here, the juicy one, the Nerdtorious JLD, the PhD of Nerdology, Dr. Davis himself.
That's right.
And we have a guest.
A very special guest.
Very special guest. What was it you called her?
This is Tenacious Tara.
Tenacious Tara.
Why tenacious, you ask? Because she holds on to her fandom very tightly, very closely. It's very dear to her.
Yes, and I've never met anyone with a Pops collection that rivals yours.
It does rival mine.
Yes.
We have our friend Tara here. She is a student at SCAD, right?
Yeah.
And what are you majoring in?
Film and television post-production.
So, as you can see, she's the perfect guest to have here on the show.
She is.
She also is a theater nerd. That's how we know her. I've had the pleasure of being her director a handful of times.
Yeah.
We've shared the stage with her.
We have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
And another interesting tidbit about Tara. Tara, how many times did you see Endgame in the theaters?
11.
11 times.
I think.
11 times?
I think so.
So
yeah.
what led you to see it 11 times?
So I watched it when it first premiered. It was amazing. And I was like, okay, I gotta go see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw it again. And I was like, okay, gotta go again. I mean, I have free time. We gotta go.
So we asked you off the air, but did you notice something different like every time that you saw it?
Yeah, there were a bunch of things that are like you catch on to. So the second or third time I noticed that Rocket and Nebula hold hands at the very first of the movie. So that was really interesting. Mm-hmm. And then the seventh or eighth time, my sister and I noticed that when the Hulk hands 2 tacos to Scott, the camera cuts to Scott, and he's only holding 1 taco.
Oh, no.
That sounds like
They missed a detail?
A
Yeah.
detail.
I have not noticed that yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like I don't know about it. So we're very happy to have Tara here today. Mm-hmm. She's going to join us for a fun little discussion.
Yeah.
Several fun discussions, really.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to be talking today about who wore it better.
Yes.
DC or Marvel. And since
you said DC first there.
I did.
I'm very proud of you.
Ooh.
I'm trying not to be biased. We're going to try to put our biased opinions aside.
Yes.
And if need be, Tara can be the
Mediator.
the
mediator,
the tiebreaker here.
Yeah.
So
So
sometimes we need
actually,
that.
she has you have a boyfriend who.
I do.
Tell us what he does.
He interns for Marvel over the summer. So
amazing.
he lives in New Jersey. So in the summer he goes to New York and interns. So it's really cool.
And you got to meet some people.
I
You texted me the other day
did.
and told me a fun story.
So the Savannah Film Festival, it's SCAD based and it has like a whole bunch of celebrities. And I actually got to meet some of the costume designers for Marvel. And it was really, really cool.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. They talked about like how to differentiate whatever from CGI costumes to like regular
Actual
costumes.
one.
Yeah, like who gets what costume. It was really interesting.
I don't want to get my hopes up too much here, but I just noticed that your T-shirt you have on says Marvel Comics.
Yes.
It does.
So I feel good about my chances if we get to any sort of debate today.
I must say Marvel is my number one.
Hey, put it
I
there.
must say.
All right.
I must
Gotta go.
say.
All right. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. End on a high note. So if you're listening for the first time, you can catch us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you cast your pod. And we hope that you go to podchaser.com and give us a rating. You can rate the show as well as individual episodes. We hope that you will go ahead and hit that.
5 stars.
That's right. How cute.
5 stars.
5 stars. And if you don't know, that is Josh's beautiful, sweet daughter, Emma. And if she thinks you should give us 5 stars, you definitely should.
Can't argue with her.
You can. If you are tuning in again with us, thank you for joining us, and welcome back to the show. What's up, Doc?
Well, not a lot, except we've kind of had a busy day today.
Yes.
We spent some time over at Beeler's Day Off podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy local here in Morristown. He's actually a truck driver by day, but he has a podcast that he records on the weekends. We got to go to his house, and he's got a really nice little setup there. We sat down at his little recording studio. And he basically just has on guests who he feels like
have
a story to tell. And we talked really for about a good hour and a half or so. So he said that'll probably be, by the time you hear this will already have dropped.
Be up on his. So check out Beeler's Day Off podcast. And he is also on iTunes, Google Play, and all those other podcast platforms.
That's right.
And he was a nice guy.
Very nice.
Very nice. So last week, we discussed the film Joker.
Joker breaking all the records.
Just broke another one.
First R-rated film to cross the $1 billion mark. And we kind of predicted that because it was pretty close last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Rightfully so. Well deserved.
Well deserved. How many times have you seen this one, Tara?
Twice.
Us two. Jinx. So, no, but it deserves all the accolades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Joker, go see Joker.
And
What are you waiting for?
Yeah. After you've seen it, go check out last week's episode.
Yeah.
So, we also have a contest still going on, and you have 1 week left. We have got December is coming up, and it's going to be Star Wars month here at the show. And even though our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th week of December episodes are claimed by the newer versions of Star Wars, we did not know that Mandalorian was going to be episodically and only drop weekly. So our original opening episode of December was The Mandalorian. However, we cannot do that yet. So we're looking to you all to give us a pretty general Star Wars themed topic.
Yeah, we need some broad topics, not anything too specific. This needs to be something for an entire discussion for the second half of our show. So we've had several really good suggestions so far, but you've got a few more days to send in your suggestions. And if we choose your topic, we might be able to work something out where we give you a call or you come
to the show,
sit down with us, whatever.
If you want to, you might not want to.
Tara, what would you want to hear? What would you want to talk about
I'd
Star
want to
Wars
hear
based?
rating Star Wars movies from best to worst.
Ooh. Well, we could probably do that anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We need to add that.
Well, write that
add
down.
to the list.
Okay.
Because that would be hard for me to rate the prequels like trying to
I could do
decipher
it.
where Last Jedi fits with the prequels.
Yeah. Our mutual friend Peyton will be joining us
Yes.
a couple of times throughout
Yes.
the month. So
I've never met anyone with Star Wars knowledge like Peyton.
no, nobody.
Peyton's insane.
It's ridiculous. Like when we were doing the episode with him and he was taking us through his house, I was like, he's got the D-list characters that literally nobody should know their
He's
name.
got A through Z, man.
Yeah.
He's got anything that has ever even been remotely related to Star Wars.
Yeah.
He knows it. He's got it. He's been there. He's done it.
Did
Yeah.
he show you the shower, the Star Wars
Yes.
shower?
Yes.
He showed us everything.
He shows us everything. It's fantastic. Like
Wild.
we were kind of humbled that day. That so like I said, check those episodes out. Drop your suggestions for Star Wars episodes. This week, however, we are, like we said earlier, playing Who Wore It Better? And we're going to pick 10 very similar characters between the DC and Marvel universe and kind of play Who Wore It Better. We will talk a little bit about each character, and we will kind of give our opinions on it.
Yeah.
And if need be, Tara will mediate and be the deciding vote.
I think it could probably happen.
Yeah, I mean,
we're fairly biased.
we are, possibly, but I also think that we'd be surprised at some that we might agree with.
Yeah, that too.
Absolutely. And we will get to all that after a word from our sponsor.
All right.
Just in time for the holidays, it's Lionel Bart's award-winning Dickens musical masterpiece, Oliver. The streets of Victorian England come to life with some of the most memorable characters and songs ever to hit the stage. Oliver is a co-production of Encore Theatrical Company and Walters State Community College Department of Music and Theatre. Oliver is proudly presented by K-Tom Restaurant Supply Incorporated, MUS FiberNet, Sykes, Lakeway Dermatology Associates, Tar Chevrolet and Hyundai, Aaron's, Hampton Inn and Suites, Ashley Lodge Photography, Freddy Cat Productions, The Citizen Tribune, and WJDT and WBGQ. Oliver runs November 29th through December 8th at the Walters State Inman Humanities Complex Theatre and is presented through special arrangement with Music Theatre International. Tickets are on sale now at etcplays.org or by calling 423-318-8331.
All right. Time to talk nerdy to you. So, last week we talked about the Duke of Nerds. And that is your level 5 of the Nerdarchy, or Order of Nerds. This week, your level 6 would be the Nerd King. Now, Joshua, do you know a Nerd King?
Well, I know myself.
King
Nerd.
King Nerd.
All hail the king.
It's good to be the king.
Always.
So, a King Nerd knows more than a Duke, but is still only level 6. They have not quite reached that top echelon yet. I do know someone that I would consider Nerd King. And you also know him. His name is Alex. He is Kelly Ward's son. Mm-hmm. His knowledge in many nerddoms, as well as deep nerd on the Green Lantern Corps. I know 2 of the Green Lanterns, but he knows like the ins and outs of the entire Corps, their history, each one in and out, their girlfriends, their dog walkers. It's ridiculous. It takes a lot of time to acquire the level of king. So that is your nerd word. King or Nerd King. King of Nerd. Queen of Nerds. You could have the Queen of Nerds. Yeah. So next week we will be at our final level of the Nerdarchy. And boy, is it a doozy.
And if you think that you're higher than the king, you're wrong.
Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 of those that exist.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
But to learn about them, you'll have to tune in
next week. And that is your nerd word for the week. Why don't we get to your favorite segment?
Let's do it.
What you watching?
So, I guess I'll start.
Okay.
This week, there's not been a lot going on in the entertainment world. I've been watching, like old reruns of The Office, and I've been watching...
Josh, it sounds like that you didn't subscribe to Disney Plus.
Disney Plus?
Disney Plus.
Did that happen this week?
That was this week?
I had heard nothing about that.
You, my friend, are living under a rock.
I jest. Of course, I've got Disney Plus. Are you crazy? Everybody has Disney Plus. In fact, more than 10 million people have subscribed to Disney Plus, and I have it on good authority that the powers that be at Disney, they had not projected to reach that number for a year, and they did it in one day.
Jeez,
that's wild.
There were about 30 to 40 minutes where it didn't crash, the internet didn't break, but there were some
very close
glitchy moments.
Yeah. It was a little touch and go in the early hours there. And I gotta tell you, I was a little frustrated because you would expect something like that with something as huge as this.
Absolutely.
But I remember 5 or 6 years ago when the WWE Network launched, they had a few little glitches, but nothing that prevented you from watching.
Right.
I could still watch stuff.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't for about 2 hours. I couldn't get anything to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, Disney's better than this. They surely were prepared for this, but clearly
they weren't prepared for 10 million in a day.
Yeah. So unreal.
That's
so let's talk about it. Round table here.
Yes.
Tara, your initial thoughts on Disney Plus?
I was really excited about it because my generation grew up with Zack and Cody, Kim Possible, all those old Disney Channel movies are all on there. So it dropped while I was in class. So I used my mom's credit card that I was only supposed to use for emergencies.
This is an emergency. If this doesn't constitute as an emergency, Mom, nothing does.
And I bought it while I was in class.
Smart.
We weren't doing anything, so it was fine. And we watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit as a class on my laptop.
I love that.
Because that was the only movie that would work. We'd try to watch anything else, and it wouldn't work. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit was my godsend. It worked.
Please, Eddie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you watched, JD?
Well, the first thing I was planning to watch was The Mandalorian. But,
you have children. You have a child.
It didn't quite work. So I'm sitting there going, I can't get anything to work. My wife, the queen herself, she picks up the remote. She goes to Frozen, and it works right away. So the first thing we watched was the first few minutes of Frozen. Because she's trying really hard to get Emma into Frozen.
Why try? Don't force it.
Well, every time Emma sees on her Elsa, she goes, Moana! And we're like, no.
Well, Moana's better in my eyes.
Quite.
Yeah.
I think Moana's better. First thing I watched was Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
I had to. That opening night of Disney Plus, I went to bed to Darkwing Duck. 90s Tyler. Little 9, 10-year-old Tyler.
Little nerdling Tyler
was so happy.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the past timeline, 10-year-old Tyler went, something somewhere is just right in the world. At one point, Earth 1 and Earth 2 met.
It was a slight
disturbance, and they went. And all of a sudden, for some reason, 10-year-old Tyler was like, I'm happy all of a sudden, for some reason.
I'm oddly comforted.
Yeah, I just feel really happy right now. I'm good. And then, of course, when you came to the house this morning, I was watching Gargoyles.
Mm-hmm.
Watched Mandalorian, Chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
Took a look at some of the, and when I'm talking about classics, I mean, Steamboat Willie's on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We watched that, too, and I had no idea that Mickey Mouse was so abusive to animals back in the early days.
Yeah.
Did you know about this?
Yeah, it was all about the Hays Code. We talked about that in film class this
Yeah.
past quarter. Yeah, it was all Hays Code.
Elaborate.
So, Hays Code was the Hollywood standards when Hollywood became a thing, where you couldn't show a certain amount of things in movies and TV shows. But then, the Hays Code was passed, and you could show whatever you wanted. And the first thing Disney decided to do was show things that were common in those days, like drinking, smoking, and there wasn't any animal laws, so it was common.
Pete had a cigar a lot back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was very surprised at my friend the mouse. I had not seen the entirety of Steamboat Willie before, actually. Yeah,
Really?
I had only seen the iconic,
The whistling
and at the wheel and everything. I'd never taken the time to watch beyond the boat scene, but then he goes into a barn and plays songs on animals and stuff.
There is actually
really uncomfortable.
you have not gotten this far into this game in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Mm-hmm.
you go through a world door and you're back in the day.
Oh, that's
with
true.
Steamboat Willie
Yeah.
and Old Pete and the boat and Black and White. It's really cool.
I can't beat Ursula in Kingdom Hearts 1. I'll never get there.
Just have to look up YouTube videos.
Yeah. So I've found a lot of surprises on Disney Plus, and I find sometimes that I just sit there and scroll through all the options.
Very overwhelming.
It's just
Yeah.
everything that you could ever possibly imagine. But I found a few things that really surprised me. Dr. Dolittle is on there. 10 Things I Hate About You. Never Been Kissed. Willow is on there. Out of the Box. Do you remember Out of the Box?
Yeah.
The box.
I was super pumped about that because I'm probably going to try to get Emma into that. Hey, Emma loves music and stuff, so I think she'll, we'll see. And they have like collections. If you go to the search bar, they have like the Spider-Man collection, the Star Wars collection, the Darth Vader collection.
Disney through the decades.
Yeah, Marvel Animation.
Marvel Animation. Which I actually, before I moved back to Morristown from Pigeon Forge, Netflix had happened to have the old Avengers Assemble cartoon on it. And now that's on Disney Plus. And some of those voices are who's doing the voice of the video game that's coming out. The Avengers video game. Some of those original animated voices.
Oh, okay.
So it's cool. You should go check it out. That series was pretty good.
Do you have any complaints or any critiques so far? Because believe it or not, I do.
I do.
What?
When there's sequels to stuff, like a Goofy movie, an extremely Goofy movie, they're not together when you look through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like Mighty Ducks, the first one.
D2 is shown
Yeah.
before.
Well, if you click on it though and you go to like suggested,
it shows it.
But I agree, it's hard to find stuff.
Yeah.
And without typing it in completely.
Yeah.
And that's sort of my complaint too. And it's like, the good thing about Netflix is if you watch something, it's on, hey, continue watching.
Yeah.
It shows you where you were and everything.
Yeah.
On this, there is
Starting
no
over.
section for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily that you have to start over because it did start me where I left off, but I had to go back and search through all the content.
you had to find it.
To find it rather than it being right there like, here's where you left off. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've started and stopped a lot. I've watched more TV in the past 3 or 4 days than I haven't.
Yeah.
I can
Oh,
tell you.
yeah, I'd agree. I mean, mostly my entertainment, if I have dead time or at night, has been either working on podcast stuff or Hulu Letterkenny. But I've watched more probably differentiation of things, a bigger genre, a wider genre of stuff in the past 2 days. Like, I'll go from Darkwing Duck to Captain Marvel, from Captain Marvel to something Star Wars.
I did Captain Marvel too.
Yeah.
I tried to check out. Did you hear that they had some sort of change that they put with the Han Solo Greedo scene in A New Hope? So I went back and looked for it. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
I probably never would have noticed it if I hadn't heard so much about it.
Someone didn't see it. Someone did not see that. That is someone being told, I guarantee. Because I don't think you could watch that, no matter what level of nerd you are, you could not watch that and go, oh, they added bigger sparks.
Greedo added like a half of a second word or something.
Yeah.
I don't really see the point in doing that, but it didn't bother me.
It's kind of like, we follow this, the podcast follows this YouTube channel called, it's some Marvelous Wave. And they're constantly posting stuff like, how long ago did Endgame come out?
Not even a year ago.
April 27th,
April 26th. They're still posting things about the directors finally explained this.
Yeah.
It's a whole video about, it'd be about maybe Gamora saying one line, and it'd be like, the directors finally explained why Gamora said this. And I'm like, okay, we don't need that.
No.
We saw the movie. Well, it's kind of like we talk about with Harry Potter. You gave it to us.
It's mine now.
It's mine now.
Yeah.
Stop trying to explain stuff to people who didn't get it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Movie's over.
Or don't change it.
Or don't change the narrative.
There's
Exactly. So, I would have to agree. The only complaint I can make about Disney Plus is it seems very scattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scattered. But I think with time, they'll be like, okay, let's work on this now.
There's also not here's what we've just added, which granted they've only been up for 2 or 3 days now.
Yeah.
But like they added an episode of The Mandalorian on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew about it, so I went to look for it, but it wasn't like on the front home page.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, we just
Yeah.
added this.
Their trending now section, I don't know if I believe.
No.
Because some of the movies popped up said, no, I highly doubt that. Like,
Yeah.
I guarantee you more old stuff is trending before
Yeah.
things like Tangled is
Yeah.
trending, apparently.
I think
I
you'd
was
be
like,
surprised. Out of 10 million people,
oh, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah,
And I
most
saw
people that bought it were people with kids.
yeah, I saw that the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse was trending, which I believe. Lots of people with their kids.
Really love the Jeff Goldblum show.
I haven't tried it
I've
yet.
watched 3 episodes and I love it.
There's 3 of them out already?
2, sorry.
2.
Okay. It's a Snicker one and a Sneaker
Sneakers.
and ice cream. Sneaker and ice cream. He's like, I don't know, the eccentric uncle you take around Dollywood or something. And he's like, well, Tara, did you know that? Like, he's got all these facts. And
Yeah.
it's literally what you think Jeff Goldblum is in real life. Just experiencing life. Like, he was outside the Adidas store about to talk to some shoe scientists, and he's like, we're at Adidas, or as normal people call it, Adidas. And I was like, I love this man. Like, he's ahead of the joke. He's ahead of the curve because I swear to God, he's been a character his entire life, and he's still playing it. You should check it out, though.
I plan to. I'm really excited about all the National Geographic stuff. I love documentaries and stuff, so I'm going to check that out too.
Yes.
So let's just briefly talk about The Mandalorian, and there's a reason why I say briefly. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil anything.
But there's 2 episodes out already. Out of the 3 of us, I'm the only one that's fully caught up.
Yeah.
I've only seen one.
I've only seen one.
Yeah,
I've read online. There has been mixed reactions to it. The biggest complaint so far is that the episodes are short.
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, it's like 30 minutes. We want longer episodes.
You want a movie?
It's
Or
only
you want a
been,
show?
but it's only been 2. We don't know that the next one won't be an hour or however long.
Well, I mean, yes. What
Yeah.
season 7 of Game of Thrones started doing random
It
time
changes
increases and
sometimes.
decreases.
And with the streaming service, you're not bound to any time length. You can do however long you want. So we'll see. Maybe they'll be longer, maybe not. But I'm happy either way.
I enjoyed it. It caught me pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like early on, I was like,
It's like makes me think of like the Wild West, but
Yes.
Yeah.
science fiction.
Desperado.
The mysterious gunslinger
Yeah.
enters the saloon.
Yeah, and it's really the Empire just fell, and it's not
5
like
years prior to this.
5 years prior to this, and the Jedi are not really rulers, and there's at this point one Jedi left. He hasn't started his training
Luke
yet.
is working on.
Luke's working on things, so it's really a lawless galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally is the wild, wild universe.
Yeah.
Western universe. Something like that.
Western part of the galaxy.
Yeah, Western galaxy.
Yeah. Here's another reason why we wanted to be brief about Mandalorian. We are going to try something new and fresh and fun around here. We are going to start having Mandalorian Mondays. We're going to do some mini episodes, mini-sodes on The Mandalorian. Going to review each episode every week and drop a little 15, 20 minute or so discussion about it. And you can look for that the first couple times.
First 2. Here's what we'll do. We'll do the first 2 since they dropped in the same week. We'll do the first 2 for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
But then 3 through 8, I think there's going to be 8 chapters.
That sounds right.
We'll do for Patreon.
Yeah. You will not be able to hear the other episodes unless you become a Patreon supporter.
Yeah.
So everybody get on that right away.
And that's as low as a cup of coffee a month.
Hey,
You can become a Patreon
Yeah.
subscriber.
that's a deal.
It is a deal. Because there are a lot of people who go to Starbucks 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So I want to know where they get that money.
So tune in to get your Star Wars fix from the Dukes, the Kings here.
Yes.
Whichever
Yes.
we are, we haven't decided.
We'll decide. I think it's genre bent. Some things we're kings. Some things we might be recruits. I mean, I don't know a lot about anime. Do you?
Can't
No.
confirm.
Can't confirm.
Not at all.
Talk to me about Dragon Ball Z, sure, but the minute you say ghost in a shell, I'm like, what's that? What is that? There's a ghost haunting a seashell? What is?
Oh, yes. Nerd peasants.
Nerd peasants.
Why didn't we think of that? Maybe
I'm
Tara
should do
Yeah.
the words.
Yeah.
Tara, I'm going to text Tara every week and go, I need a word.
All right, well, with that, I think it's time that we get to the news.
All right, it's time for the news. Big news out of DC.
For once.
Don't start. Titans has been renewed for season 3.
Yay!
How far have you?
Well, I've been a bit busy with Disney Plus, so I've only finished 4 episodes of Titans.
That's fine.
But I do still enjoy it thoroughly,
Yeah.
very much.
I enjoy it.
And I love Robin and Raven and all of them, the whole crew.
Yeah.
I was a little worried how they were going to do Beast Boy, but they've done pretty good with him. I like Gar.
Yeah, I just finished like the Doom Squad.
Oh, the
where they were in
crossover?
the dude's house, and there was
Yeah.
the robot looking.
Brendan Fraser. That's
Really?
Brendan Fraser.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He made his return to entertainment, and it was via Doom Squad. He's the
Wow.
voice to the robot guy. And actually, that's him in the body of it. He's actually a pretty hefty gentleman now. Yeah.
All right.
Also, DC has confirmed that Black Adam will hit theaters in December of 2021.
It's a long way away.
Yeah.
It really is. But also 2021 is Spider-Verse 2?
Is that 21 or 22?
I think it's 22.
That's
Yeah.
22.
Because remember I said by the time that comes out,
Emma will be ready
old
to
enough
watch
that
it,
She
yeah.
could go with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
With Disney Plus dropping, one of the biggest trends going on is Gargoyles, which has prompted the creator of Gargoyles to start hitting the Twitterverse saying, hey, keep it coming, and that might spawn us bringing Gargoyles back. I would like to see a movie. A very terrifying
Oh, that'd be cool.
Gargoyles movie. I think it'd be cool. Moving on. A little wrestling news. CM Punk. The day that we thought would never come, came. CM Punk has returned to WWE programming.
Yeah.
In a way.
In a way.
Through Fox.
So his contract is not through the WWE. It is through Fox.
Yes.
So at this time, he will not be, unless there's something we don't know about, making an in-ring return.
No.
At least not for the WWE. I'm not a super huge fan of CM Punk. Don't want to get into that too much. But, you know, if this is what he's going to do, great. And I'm glad that some people will have their CM Punk fix for a while. But don't you feel like this sort of cheapens it a little bit? Because I feel like if he's involved now, this is going to open up the door one day for him to go back to the
one
ring.
more match, blah, blah, blah.
And I just feel like it takes so much away from...
Now, if you had heard that entrance song drop too, there it is.
Right. So, like...
If you heard that hit at
Like out of nowhere.
at Royal Rumble, like number 10, number 12, something like that, that pop would be game-changing.
That would be probably the biggest reaction in the history of professional wrestling. I mean, in my opinion.
Probably since Edge returning. But that
Well, I think, but the Hardy Boys coming back at
Hardy Boy
WrestleMania
pop
was even
was huge.
bigger, and we were there for that.
That was absolutely. I think this was, and I think that just proves that WWE is definitely not involved, because they would have probably looked at it as, how can we sell this pop? This is definitely Fox saying, just bring him in at the end of the episode. Mm-hmm. You can definitely tell Fox is involved. AEW pay-per-view. Did you see it?
No.
I watched some highlights. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Solid
Heard
stuff.
it was really a long show.
It was very long. Not as long as that WrestleMania was.
Oh,
but it's good stuff. Good product. A lot going on. A lot to choose from in the wrestling world. Moving on. With the Stream Wars upon us. Stream Wars 2, Revenge of the Binge, which is next week. Mm-hmm. Yes. And the impending doom that D Plus has set on Netflix. Netflix has entered a deal with Nickelodeon to produce original movies and television together. This will start with a SpongeBob spinoff about Squidward.
Good move.
Wow. Because
Yeah.
the older you get, the more you
Identify with Squidward.
Squidward.
I identified with Squidward from the start. I don't know what you're talking
Even
about.
as a kid, you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I like that guy with all the legs.
Yeah. He knows a bit about.
He knows
life.
a bit about life. I think this is a smart move. I think that they're going to have to do something like this to battle what they're going to be losing.
I wonder how many subscribers Netflix lost, because I know just personally, like on my own social media, I saw a lot of people saying, "Bye-bye, Netflix."
Yeah.
Rest in peace, my Netflix account.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do when season 4 of Stranger Things comes out?
I don't know. Resubscribe.
Use someone else's Netflix account.
Do that too.
Because
That's something I wanted to talk about when we introduced Tara. Tara, one of the biggest fangirls I know. Stranger Things season 3 dropped this past summer. This girl started as soon as it was available at midnight.
3 a.m.
3 a.m. 3 a.m., folks, and watched the entire show in that one night.
What?
Yeah, one sitting. We only took 2 breaks. That was to pee and come back. That was it.
Didn't like fall asleep or get tired?
No. I mean, I'm dedicated to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
She's tenacious.
She
is very tenacious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Tenacious Tara. I'm telling you, what did you think of the ending? Who's the American?
I mean, everyone thinks it's Hopper. I have my doubts.
What if it's
Papa?
What if it's Papa?
I have my doubts. I think so.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
You think? What if it's Papa in the prison, but Hopper's still in the Upside Down? They swerve you with both.
I don't think that Hopper's gone.
He's not gone.
We would have seen.
I mean, it's been confirmed that he's coming back for season 4, whether that be in like flashback episodes or.
So,
something
do you
else.
believe the talks of 4 is the last?
I think so.
Wow.
Every good TV show ends after 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And after those 4 or 5 seasons, if TV shows continue on, they just kind of get a little lackluster.
Like The Walking Dead.
A little out of Supernatural.
Even Supernatural's got
American Horror Story.
It's got lackluster.
Yeah.
Season 6 was rough. And
Supernatural.
Forward,
Yeah, it's on its 15th season.
Yeah, it's ending on its 15th season.
873rd season. I feel like it's just been never ending.
Yeah, it's.
I sound like
rough.
I'm dissing it. I don't mean to. I'm just. I don't dislike Supernatural.
No.
It's just so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
so much. I've tried, but
it's an
never
undertaking.
It
would
is.
have to be something that you would have to do in a timely manner, like at your leisure, not like, all right, this week I'm getting season 1 down, blah blah blah. So moving on. I wish Netflix luck, though. I mean, if that brings some Nickelodeon stuff back, possibly that'll bring back things like Are You Afraid of the Dark and Nickelodeon stuff, you know? Nick at Night stuff.
Nostalgia is king.
Absolutely it is. People love Nerdstalgia. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Moving on, last bit of news. Mark Wahlberg is in final talks to play Sully in an Uncharted movie.
So Uncharted, based on the hit PlayStation game series, Uncharted. Tom Holland will be playing Nathan Drake, from what I understand, right?
Yeah.
Love Tom Holland, do you?
I love him.
Spoiler alert. I have not played one of those games.
I've played all of them.
Are they good?
They're very good. Think like Tomb Raider, but
Indiana Jones?
And Indiana Jones combined.
Okay.
If they had a child, it'd be Nathan Drake.
Okay, I like
that.
But the character Sully, here's the thing.
Yeah, who's
Sully is like Nathan Drake's mentor. He's an older guy.
Yeah.
Far older than Nathan
So
Drake.
it'll work with Holland as Nathan Drake.
I mean, yeah, I think it'll work, depending on what kind of story they're telling. So if this is like a prequel type deal, then for sure, because Sully is like an old dude. He's like 60 in the games. So Mark Wahlberg is clearly not. So it's going to have to be a prequel.
Okay.
But I've got to say I'm a little concerned, even with Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, 2 big-name actors. People love both of those guys. Video game movies have historically not done well.
Very low success rate.
Yeah.
You know, I think Sonic, now that they've fixed it, I think it's going to do okay.
That is proof that your power of speech can change things.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, I saw a meme the other day that said, my mom used to tell me that complaining about something wouldn't change the world. Well, the fans of Sonic proved that wrong.
Yeah.
And normally I'm the guy that's like, oh, don't complain until you see it. Give it a chance, whatever. I agree with this one.
Yeah. I was like, that's not Sonic.
Needed to make some changes.
It's like Pixar doing Sonic.
Well, the original trailer dropped the same week of Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
So comparing the two, it was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have just,
Yeah. It was like, you got Pikachu to look like Pikachu. Why can't you get Sonic to look like Sonic?
Well, they did.
They did.
Finally.
All right.
Finally. So that's about it for your nerd news. You know, nerds, with Disney Plus dropping this week, I have not left the house. But I did leave for one reason and one reason only, and that was to get some dinner. You've got to eat when you're binge watching all these classic Disney films and amazing things that Disney Plus has given to us. So where did I go? I went to Akita. Now, Akita is a family-owned restaurant where they treat you like family and feed you till you're full. Full service portions and quality at a fast pace. They honestly believe in providing the best customer service and fast food for a reasonable price. Fresh hibachi grilled food in a matter of minutes. If you haven't tried it, I'm sure they will be able to fix something you will absolutely enjoy. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Give Akita Express a try. They are at 3100 East Morse Boulevard right here in Morristown, Tennessee. And when you stop by, tell them 30 and Nerdy sent you.
And we're back. Welcome back, nerds. And welcome to a segment we like to call... And today we're going to... on who wore it better, Marvel or DC? DC or Marvel? Originally, this was going to be a full-on debate. We were going to go to the notorious Nerd Court.
Yes, the Nerd Court. But, you know, we... yeah.
Sorry, I was a little slow on the draw on that one.
Sergeant sound effect over here.
That needs to be added to my little intro. Sergeant sound effect. But
the Sarge of soundboards.
Yeah.
So it was, we had originally planned to end the November time with another debate, another Nerd Court, but then the more we started to talk about it and plan it out, we realized that we didn't have 1,000% disagreements on everything. So we would have had to force an argument, and that wouldn't have been, number one, it wouldn't have been believable, and number two, knowing this man's temper, it could have just spawned into a big fight. You know,
I ain't about that life.
So, we decided to actually turn it into a game.
Yeah.
Who wore it better?
Yeah.
And this is obviously based off the fact that there are many similarities.
Quite a few.
And these are just our 10 that we have compiled.
Marvel and DC comics have been rivals for decades, you know, well, all throughout history. So whether it's comics, film, television, merchandise, these titans have been duking it out for a really long time. Nice word, titans.
Yeah.
Sometimes Marvel comes out on top with things like the MCU and the movies, and I would say even the merchandise, the commercialism aspect, but they do have Disney behind them there. And sometimes DC gets the bragging rights with things like television.
Yes.
For sure.
Like the Flash.
The
Absolutely,
Flash.
100%.
The impending crisis on Infinite Earths
That's going to be
Yeah.
unlike anything ever done before.
No.
So either way, there will always be the age-old debate of who is on top, Marvel or DC. Truthfully, it really depends on who you ask. After all, both sides have their fan bases, from the very basic to even the most rabid of fans.
I would call you a rabid fan.
I would call you a rabid fan.
Yep.
And I would especially call Tara a rabid
She's
fan.
definitely a rabid fan.
I
You know, Oscar Wilde once said, "Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. The well of ideas can always run dry, but you know what? With sometimes you just need a little refill from someone else's bucket to keep yours going. With just a little change, I could make Josh's work look completely different and make it work in a different way. And it might be better in Tara's eyes. It might not. So, regardless, I did draw from your idea.
And most every DC character seems to have a Marvel counterpart, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And whether it's the similarities that they have in their looks or their abilities, it could be a lot of things, right? So we've compiled a list of 10 of the most similar comparisons in the Marvel, DC, or DC Marvel universes.
You really are being fair.
I'm trying really hard.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
I do have love for DC.
You do. There's here's some of the rules. We will give a character comparison from DC and Marvel, or Marvel and DC. We will give a little breakdown of each individual character, and then we will talk about our opinions on things and such.
And who wore it better.
So, we will start with... who are we starting with? We are starting with DC's Red Hood, which debuted in 2005.
And Marvel's Winter Soldier, who also debuted in 2005. And I already know Tara's answer to this one.
Yes.
But.
Yeah.
Red Hood's real name is Jason Todd.
And the Winter Soldier's real name is Sergeant Bucky Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
The Winter Soldier debuted about a month before the Red Hood. And this one, I think it really has to be a coincidence, because a month is just too soon of a time for either one of them to steal from the other.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think, interesting though, these two dead sidekicks turned anti-heroes were resurrected in the same year. Both characters acted as sidekicks to two of the biggest names in each company, DC's Batman and Marvel's Captain America.
Yeah, but Bucky was killed off heroically in an explosion during World War II, and Red Hood, a.k.a. everyone's least favorite Robin, poor guy, he was killed off truly by the fans. It came through everyone's favorite clown, Prince of Crime, the Joker himself. He was beaten to death by the Joker and left to die in an explosion.
Yes. Arguably, though, these two were two of the lamer sidekicks, but when they were brought back, they became 1,000 times cooler.
Yeah.
They were brought back in big ways that pitted them against their former mentors. Jason Todd returned with vengeance and death on his mind, and we all know how Batman feels about killing. Bucky was turned into one of the world's greatest assassins, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Well, despite the fact that both men returned under unfortunate circumstances, they are now both heroes. Jason partially redeemed himself over time and was reimagined with Red Hood and the Outlaws, DC's New 52 version. Bucky eventually came to his senses and has been a hero ever since, sometimes called the White Wolf. He has also done a brief stint as Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's your information about these two.
Okay.
Yeah, this one was tough.
This is tough because I really like them both.
And I am pretty much indifferent to them both.
Fun fact, but Tara absolutely is in love with one of them.
Yeah.
Are you in love with Winter Soldier, or are you in love with Sebastian Stan?
I'm in love with Winter Soldier.
Okay.
The character, the arc.
I mean, Sebastian Stan does a really good job portraying him. I give him that. But Winter Soldier's just character arc is just so good. And it's just now, like, Endgame. Now he's Falcon's mentor and best friend. He's passing on the torch. He's helping him. Like how Captain America helped him. Like, it's just, he's a great character.
Full circle. Right?
Yeah.
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 That's true.
So Tara, who wore it better?
Winter Soldier.
All right.
Winter Soldier.
Tyler? My DC friend?
I would have to say Winter Soldier as well.
Ooh.
Really?
Because as much as I love the Red Hood, I really, really, really hate Jason Todd.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand him as Robin.
Well, but it doesn't say Jason Todd. It says Red Hood.
That's true. Red Hood. I'd still have to go with Winter Soldier. I think it's the silver arm.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome. It kind of reminds me of Jax from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm so torn. Under the Red Hood is my favorite DC animated special that they ever did. Mm-hmm. I love that. So I wanted to say Red Hood, but you've made a pretty good argument for Winter Soldier there, Tara.
Yeah.
So you know what? I think I'm going to agree. We're all in agreement. It's going to be Winter Soldier.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So, shall we move on?
Let's go to the next one.
All right. So, DC's Green Arrow, which debuted in 1941.
Uh-oh. Marvel's Hawkeye 1964.
Uh-oh. So, Green Arrow's real name is Oliver Queen.
Hawkeye's real name is Agent Clint Barton, an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, he is.
Both men have big tempers. Both men have died and come back. Both men are mortal, and of course, they use bow and arrows.
Yes. Both men have been involved with heroes that are also somewhat similar, Black Widow and Black Canary.
Both men had to teach themselves archery to survive from a young age.
And both men have been key members to their respective teams. Clint, a.k.a. Hawkeye, has been an Avenger in most to all iterations of the team, and Oliver Queen, a.k.a. the Green Arrow, has always been associated with the Justice League and Justice Society as founder or at least one of the earlier recruits. That seems pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I'll start. How's that?
Okay.
Hawkeye might be my least favorite Avenger.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Don't dislike him. Just
I
don't overly love him.
No.
I think that more people know Green Arrow. The show has really
Yeah.
brought him a long way.
I agree.
I'm going to go with Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. DC gets this
Okay.
one.
I couldn't agree with you more. I don't hate Clint Barton. I don't hate Hawkeye. But I have known and probably pretty much leaned more towards the Green Arrow side for years. I think Hawkeye really became more mainstream for most people when the MCU was born.
Yeah.
So
I think you can make that argument for a lot of them. Like,
For a lot.
even if DC did it first and maybe even did it better, once the MCU started and these
a
characters
lot of
were
a
put
lot
on the
of
screen.
these doppelganger characters became mainstream before some of the DCs did.
Right. Well, and I made the comment a minute ago that more people would probably know Green Arrow, but now at this point,
Oh yeah,
Maybe
they know
More
Hawkeye.
people know Hawkeye.
Yeah.
because Hawkeye was in the #1 movie of all time, Endgame.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
tells you there's a very vast audience that would know who
Gosh,
he is.
yes, absolutely.
Not everybody watches the CW, so
Oh, yeah, sadly they don't. But I would have to go with Green Arrow. Wore it better. Tara.
I actually have to disagree.
wow. The Marvel bias is real with this one.
No.
Well, it's not. I am Marvel, but there's one key aspect in the comics. Hawkeye's deaf, so
I completely forgot about that.
he's deaf. So and in his debut, he was one of the first deaf superheroes, and it really just opened up a whole catalog of superheroes catering to every person.
Yeah.
So
Had a disability.
yeah. And I mean, I hate they didn't use it in the MCU, but
Why wouldn't they?
I know
Beautiful story.
it is. So I'm Hawkeye.
All right.
Okay.
So this
I
is,
completely forgot about the deaf thing.
but if we're,
Which means I knew more about Oliver Queen. I didn't know.
if we're keeping track though, we all agreed that the first pairing was
All Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah. All Marvel.
Okay. And
And
now
then
on this one, you and
two
I
DC,
chose
yeah.
DC. So DC got this one.
Two DC.
That's fine.
We'll see what happens next.
It's
All
only
right.
two.
I think I know where this next one will go.
Oh
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I can. All right. So we have Marvel's Namor from 1939.
And DC's Aquaman from 1941. Marvel first. So Aquaman's real name is Arthur Curry.
And Namor's real name is, well, it's just Namor.
Yeah.
Just like the last two, the similarities of these two are pretty apparent.
Yeah, both were born to Atlantean women who fell in love with surface dwellers. Both Aquaman and Namor are considered royalty, whose people have always taken precedence over the worries of the surface world.
And though they have very similar stories and powers, one difference is that Namor can fly. Their love lives have been massively different. Aquaman has always had his queen in Mera, except, of course, the little affair with Wonder Woman and
The
Flashpoint
Flashpoint.
scandal. Namor has had many wives throughout his stories, but he always carried the biggest torch for the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm.
Uh-oh.
Yep, it's true.
Well, Reed don't like that.
No.
Both in the past have been considered somewhat not that serious of characters. However, DC's Jeff Johns has spent years making Aquaman a more serious and loved character. Namor, however, has been untouched.
For the most part.
For the most
They
part.
did just release a pop of Namor.
They did.
Which hopefully means
They
that they
did.
are leaning on, hey, why don't we bring
It was
Namor
like
into...
the 80th anniversary
Yeah.
line that they did. But
So he's 80?
yeah.
Then
Marvel.
they've got to
He was one of the
something.
originals.
They've got to bring Namor into Phase 5.
I feel like
think they
Disney
are.
Plus, Marvel might add something for him.
Well,
Surely.
I think if
I
you
think
remember
so.
in Endgame, Black
There
Panther's
was a
Black
earthquake.
Panther's general.
Played by Michonne from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
She
What's her
survived.
name?
What's her name? They're on the hologram talk with
Yeah.
Widow.
She talks about there's some sort
Something in the
of
trench. Something
Something,
trench.
something,
something
in
in the
trench,
trenches,
yeah.
and we're thinking maybe that was a result of all the snaps and
Yeah.
things like
or
that.
Or it's Namor pissed off.
Or it's Namor.
Fighting something or someone.
That'd be cool.
Because I had heard something about Namor being in the next Black Panther movie.
Cool. He could star as a villain.
Had you heard
Which
that?
he has.
I did hear
He's
that.
been a villain before.
Yeah,
He has. Yeah.
They even hinted at him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And he has a clone, a female clone called Namorita.
I did know that.
Yeah.
They're both in Ultimate Alliance 1.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are.
You have to go to the Atlantis world.
So why don't you go first on this one? Who wore it better?
Aquaman.
Interesting. I am going to go Namor.
Really?
Okay? Because Aquaman has always been considered pretty lame until Jason Momoa.
That is true.
No. Justice League Aquaman, the animated series, is when he started becoming
Oh,
a serious
yeah.
Arthur Curry King. Buff, long hair, had his hand chopped off and one part of it's a hook. That Aquaman is when he started becoming awesome. That was like 2005, 2006.
Okay, that's fair.
Boom.
But I don't concede. I still say Namor's
Nerded.
cool.
It's difficult. It's difficult. I'm gonna go Namor.
Hey!
But it's because until the Justice League series, Aquaman was just kind of
He's a
considered.
joke.
He's like, his only power is
didn't
talking
make
to
a sandwich?
fish.
Yeah, you remember the Family Guy skit that they
Yeah.
did? And it's like, hey, my
Hey,
friends are going to get here in a
stop it.
minute. You're really going
Stop
to
it.
regret that.
They did that on South Park too.
Yeah. Stop that. Just stop. What was it? There was a stand-up comedian, Frank Caliendo, does the impersonations. Remember him?
Yeah.
He did a whole like Ted Knight impersonation. Who does the "Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice" that voiceover? He did a whole joke. He's like, "Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, Aquaman's making a sandwich because he can't do crap." I mean, he was a joke, and
Yeah.
and I agree with that. But I just think that Aquaman is more mainstream and could quite possibly be why I lean to Aquaman. If Namor had stayed in the limelight, watching media-wise, as opposed to comic book,
Yeah.
I would probably like him better.
He
Might show up in the next few years, and I might be like, "Good Lord, I love him."
They could change.
It could change in a
change the
heartbeat.
game.
Yeah.
I think as far as like, people knowing who they are, Aquaman is going to win on that one.
Oh, yeah.
But I think really, again, it's because of Jason Momoa. Because that really expanded, Jason Momoa, he's not the worst looking guy in the world, right? And so I know a lot of
not.
people who
He's
are
all right.
not into the nerdy stuff like us who said, "Oh, I can't wait to see Aquaman."
I can't wait to see Aquaman. I'm going to go see Jason Momoa.
I
He
was
in
going
that
to
Game
Jason
of
Momoa
Thrones.
like shirtless. That's it.
Yeah.
Got
Does
that
he
long
wear a
hair.
shirt? Does he wear a shirt in real life?
Does
I
he
hope
own
not.
one?
Does he own
Should
a
we
shirt?
get him a shirt?
Get him a shirt that says Namor on it.
So the score is Marvel 2, DC 1.
All right.
Just want to point out that you were worried about me being biased. Tara has chosen Marvel every time.
That is very, very true. So, moving on. DC's Atom, which is debuted in 1961.
And Marvel's Ant-Man from 1962.
Now, Atom has been several people, from Ray Palmer, Al Pratt, Adam Cray, and Ryan Cho, and Rhonda Pineda.
Guess what? I don't know any of those names.
You know who Ray Palmer is. From The Flash and Arrow.
Well, I don't remember that.
I can't remember what you ate yesterday.
Ant-Man, however, has been Hank Pym and Scott Lang and Eric O'Grady.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, Eric O'Grady I'm not very familiar with.
Oh, great.
He wasn't invited, but he could stay, It was that type of situation.
You weren't invited, but you could stay.
There have been a couple of different incarnations of each hero over time, but the most popular of them would be Ray Palmer as Adam and Hank Pym as Ant-Man.
Both were created in what's known as the Silver Age of comics, where technology and science created more and more heroes. Ant-Man and Adam were some of the first to be created and used the actual science they are working on to become superheroes.
Mm-hmm. Both Ray and Hank were the subjects of bad divorces. Ooh. Ray's ex-wife actually became a supervillain known as Eclipso. I did not know that. Mm-hmm. And then Hank's biggest problem and mistake in his mythos was the creation of Ultron.
Yes, which I wish they had introduced Pym and them
instead of Scott.
I wish they'd... I mean, Scott could have become Ant-Man later on, but I wish they had introduced Hank before Ultron.
Yeah, but I love the aspect of the MCU where it's like the early days and it's like older Hank Pym. And,
Yeah.
Like he was one of the first
Bill
heroes.
Foster and all of them.
Yeah.
And Tony's dad, Howard, the old school S.H.I.E.L.D. gang.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Peggy was in that scene.
Yeah.
That was good. So,
Tara, I think you should go first on this one.
I love them both, I must say.
Yeah.
Adam's one of the DC characters that I hold near and dear to my heart. I'm going to say Adam on this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I would have to say Adam because I fell in love with Brandon Roth's portrayal of Ray Palmer in the CW DC universe. Brandon Roth, who was that terrible Superman in Superman Returns. He got his rebirth as the Atom in CW's DC universe, so he has done well at that. And also in Justice League Unlimited, the Atom has some killer episodes and stuff. Does some really cool things, and I just love the character of Ray Palmer more than I like Lang and Pym, to be honest.
Well, I'm in the minority on this one because I like Ant-Man better, and I'm actually a big fan of Scott Lang.
Yeah,
I
I love Scott.
I love this rendition of Scott.
Paul Rudd is someone I really enjoy too.
If you go back and watch,
something you'd like to say, Tara?
I just love Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
I love him too.
Have you seen Living with Yourself on Netflix?
Not yet.
Absolutely, watch it.
Yeah,
then we'll discuss it.
It's Sad Rudd and Chad Rudd. Two.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a little bit about it. Once my Disney Plus stupor has worn off a bit, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I will say, while you're on Disney Plus, go watch some of the Avengers Assemble animated show.
I've seen it.
The Scott Lang in that show, I truly disliked the way they played him, but what Rudd has done with Scott Lang and the direction MCU's taken him, I was like, okay, I like this. This is good. But I still would have been interested in seeing, an early version of Pym as
We
Ant-Man.
might get that at some point.
We could get a flashback stuff. So moving on. So DC took that one.
Yep. So we are tied right now, 2 with Marvel and 2 with
Goodness.
DC. So let's see what happens here. And I have a good feeling about this one.
Yeah.
So we've got Marvel's Vision from 1968.
And DC's Red Tornado from 1968.
Now, the Vision was created by Ultron in attempts to beat the Avengers.
And Red Tornado was created by the villain scientist T.O. Morrow in attempts to beat the Justice League.
Both creations are synthetic AI that eventually turned on their creators and became heroes.
Red Tornado's most popular storyline was created recently, though, when he became the head figure, Justice League liaison, and dendroid of the Young Justice crew in Season 1.
And then the Vision became more popular to the mainstream in MCU's recent story of him in the Infinity Saga. He started in the Age of Ultron movie,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's about to get his own...
Paul Bettany, killing it. Love it.
Show on Disney Plus, WandaVision.
Yes.
Which is apparently going to be a weird show.
Yeah. Did you know that it's going to be like a sitcom type thing? That's
And
really interesting.
different anthological outcomes and stuff can happen. Yeah. It looks weird, but I've also heard that it could be a way that Ultron comes back in some form or fashion.
I'm open to it.
Yeah. Both characters fell for and married non-android women. Red Tornado married and adopted a child with Kathleen Sutton, and Vision married and had children with Scarlet Witch. Personal opinion, though, I think you could also compare Martian Manhunter from DC to Vision in Marvel.
I can see that, yeah.
I feel that comparison has stronger value, but this is what most people compare these two. So I'll go first on this one. I just have to say Vision. Vision wears it better.
I'm going to agree.
Yeah.
Vision.
I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, Marvel breaking the tie.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Definitely with there, because they just did not use Red Tornado in this strong a way. So moving on, we have got DC's Catwoman, which debuted in 1940.
And Marvel's Black Cat, 1979.
Okay. To be honest, if you cannot see the amount of similarities between these two and the obvious theft of the characteristic from DC, you're either biased or you're blind. Selena Kyle, a.k.a. Catwoman,
And Felicia Hardy is Black Cat.
Are both cat burglars and actually the best in the business. Are romantically involved with the title hero, Selena's with Batman and Hardy's with Spider-Man. Walk the line on villainy and anti-hero, and both women have the whole cat thing going on.
Oh, meow. Black Cat creator Marv Wolfram swears up and down that he did not draw from or steal Catwoman, but that he got the idea from a 1940s cartoon called Bad Luck Blackie. I don't know anything about that. But you know what? If the man says he didn't steal it, we should take his word for it. And
we should
Black
also
Cat is
listen to all the criminals who said they didn't do it. Right?
and he's a comic book guy. You don't trust him? Come on.
No, I don't trust all of them. And the one we talk about later proves why I don't trust all of them. So, still though, they can not be stolen from one another. They can be stolen from one another. I still have to say Catwoman.
You know what? I like Felicia Hardy a lot better. I'm really not a Catwoman fan much at all. And plus, we all know I'm a big Spider-Man fan. However, despite that, I have to say Catwoman definitely wore it better. She was the first. She was, she really has got it going on. And she's more recognizable, more popular. So I'm going to go with Catwoman. Tara, your thoughts?
I love Felicia Hardy because I'm also a Spider-Man fan. But I do have to say Catwoman because of like commercialism and And was Halle Berry Catwoman?
Sadly,
is that right?
She was.
Didn't she won a Razzie for that?
She did win a Razzie.
For like the worst movie?
But it was
I think it was worst actress.
Yeah.
Worst actress.
I mean, so we have to give her those props too.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Halle Berry, who at 52 has abs. She just posted that recently. On the
52, she looks the same as she did in the Flintstones when 1995, whenever that movie came out.
But you go, girl.
You go, girl. But your Catwoman movie was bad.
Yeah.
So
she's never heard that before.
Yeah.
No.
Come at me, sis. So moving on. DC's Green Lantern in 1940.
And Marvel's Nova from 1976.
There's a pattern here.
Yeah. Shut up.
Green Lantern has been a number of people as well. Though the first Lantern in the 40s was Alan Scott, the two most notable names are Hal Jordan and John Stewart. The others consist of Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, Jade, Sinestro, Simon Baz, and Jessica Cruz.
Nova is Richard Rider, a naturally shy person chosen by the Nova Corps, Nova Corps' final dying member, Roman Day.
Though both of them belong to a bigger galactic corps and have near unlimited power, they differ in many ways. Green Lantern gets his power from the central power battery.
And Nova gets his power from the Nova Source.
The Source. Both heroes have died leading their respective corps. Both men have then been resurrected as well. I don't know a whole lot about Nova.
I don't know a whole lot about
And
Nova.
I don't know a whole lot about the other Green Lanterns. My favorite Green Lantern is John Stewart.
Okay. I'm a Hal Jordan guy.
Mainly because John Stewart's the one that most Justice League cartoons used, as well as
You're just
movies.
more familiar with him.
Yeah, I'm just more familiar with him. He's the bigger Green Lantern, and Young Justice too, who talks more, who's more, in the action and stuff like that. So I think he's just more mainstream of a Green Lantern to how I became a Green Lantern fan.
Sure.
Of course, I did not read Green Lantern comics.
Yeah.
Most of those readers are Hal Jordan fans.
Yeah.
Because it was the first they were introduced to.
I'm just honestly not really a big fan of either one.
Me neither.
You know?
Me neither.
But based on some of the things we've talked about, how recognizable is the character, who seems to have had more success, it's got to be Green Lantern, right?
I would agree. Green Lantern.
And it had a movie.
Better.
Right?
It had a failure.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the
Ryan
Ryan Reynolds.
Before his rebirth as Deadpool. Which there are plenty of Green Lantern movie jokes in Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both Deadpool movies make Green Lantern. I want a suit. Don't make it green.
So are we all in agreement on that one?
Yeah.
Green Lantern?
Yes.
So with that, it brings DC into the lead with 4 and Marvel with
4.
3. So come on, Marvel. We got to pick it up here, baby.
I think we're about to have a tie. So, moving forward, we've got DC's Deathstroke from 1980.
And Marvel's Deadpool from 1991.
Now, Deathstroke's real name is Slade Wilson.
How funny, because Deadpool's real name is Wade Wilson.
This has got to be the most on-the-nose copying of someone else's homework I have ever seen. They didn't even bother to change much of the name. You want to hear how the story went?
Hey, please, tell me.
All right, so co-creators Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza were working on the designs for a new assassin type they wanted to add to the New Mutants. Nicieza took one look at the concepts that Liefeld had been working on and said, "This is Deathstroke from Teen Titans." Liefeld had grown up a huge fan of the show and the character. Not only were they both master assassins with crazy sword and gun skills, not only do they have regenerative abilities, not only are their costumes, pardon the pun, cut from the same cloth, but the Marvel creators themselves... That was a fake laugh.
I think it was. Not very convincing.
The Marvel creators themselves admitted to realizing what they were doing. When noticing what was going on, instead of dialing it back, they took it to the next level, making the name similar as an intentional riff on Deathstroke's name. This was a jest.
Let's
they did
be
this
real.
a jest.
Let's be real here. Who's really the better character?
Deadpool. Deadpool's a better character.
100%.
100%.
Maybe even 1,000%.
10 out of 10. I'll 2,000. I'll give you 2,000.
You know what? I love you. 3,000%.
Yeah.
There it is.
So we have a tie. Deadpool is huge. You can go anywhere and see people wearing Deadpool shirts. There's a really famous one, the I Have Issues. It's got Deadpool.
Also the,
Like
holding
looking through the
comic
comics,
in the
yeah.
beginning, yeah. A character who's breaking the fourth wall.
and that's what wins it for me. Anybody who breaks the fourth wall. I'm a fan of breaking the fourth wall.
Same.
I am. So, and plus Ryan Reynolds. I'm telling you.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds killed
He's
it,
perfect.
man.
Yeah.
Like there's like this club of like perfectly cast superhero characters. Okay.
Our DJs.
Robert Downey Jr. falls into that category.
Mm-hmm.
I would be willing to say Tom Holland falls into that category. Not everybody.
I'd agree.
I agree with you.
Not
I
everybody
would
does.
agree with it.
I certainly agree with that.
He belongs in the Deadpool.
And there's a handful of other ones. Ryan
Heath
Reynolds
Ledger.
is. I would yes.
Heath Ledger.
Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is in that category.
Absolutely.
He is 100% the perfect choice. Nobody could have done it like him.
Mm-mm.
And even before these movies, though, Deadpool was still really popular.
Yeah.
The games, the comics. It just
I think he had a few appearances on some of the old cartoons here and there. Obviously, not R-rated.
the New Mutants cartoons, the later X-Men cartoons. He popped up with his X-Force. But yeah, I mean, Marvel wins this one for me. So
We have a tie.
We do have a tie.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens now.
All right.
Oh, no.
DC's The Flash from 1940.
And Marvel's Quicksilver from 1964.
Like 24 years difference, Josh.
Yeah.
Flash
I
has,
have an argument here for this one, though, so we'll get there.
Flash has been a few different people, beginning with the original Jay Garrick in the 40s. The modern renditions have been the ever-so-popular Barry Allen, his nephew Wally West, and Barry's grandson from the future, Bart Allen.
Quicksilver's real name is Pietro Maximoff. Did I say that right?
Yes, Pietro.
Pietro, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
Pietro.
spelled it wrong. You
Yeah.
said it right.
You spelt it Petro.
I did.
I was like, I don't think that's right. But
See, I was craving some chips and chili and cheese, Petros, and orange spice sweet tea.
don't let the fine folks over at Akita know that you were craving Pietro. Now, both of them have super speed.
Sorry, Quan.
They have super speed, enhanced strength, enhanced durability and stamina, and can time travel and phase through objects.
Though they share the same abilities, no one has screwed a timeline, though, as much as Barry Allen.
That's true. But without that, we wouldn't have had Flashpoint. So I'm
Great
still
idea.
appreciative. Good job, Barry. They are similar, but at the same time very different. Quicksilver was born a mutant as the son of Magneto, my favorite Marvel villain of all time.
Yes.
And the brother of Scarlet Witch.
Barry Allen was struck by lightning. But, spoiler alert, it doesn't work in real life. I've tried. I did not get super speed.
Better look next time.
Yeah.
Quicksilver runs faster than the speed of light.
Flash generates the Speed Force to move fast, phase, time travel, and even gain electrokinesis. He can throw lightning.
Yeah. Wow. And I love the stuff when the Flash races Superman. They have races around the globe.
And it's just...
Yeah.
There's an episode, I keep going back to the show, of Justice League Unlimited. DC Universe allows me to watch this show constantly, where it's Flash that beats a Brainiac-possessed Lex Luthor by just running around the world as fast as he can. And he keeps coming back to that point where Luthor's standing, and he'll swing his fist, and each one of that will, like, take a part of Brainiac's armor off. So, but it ends up, like, killing him, going that fast. That's probably one of the bigger reasons that I lean on Flash is I don't know as much about Pietro as the version we have in the MCU that, you know, died in this movie. I do know a little bit from some of the X-Men movies.
Yeah. Future Past.
Yeah, Future Past. That Quicksilver, though, is more of the Quicksilver I know than the MCU Quicksilver. And that Quicksilver, I thoroughly enjoy.
Me too.
I love Evan Peters.
Evan Peters.
He does a great job.
Could do almost any. He could do a movie about cutting onions, and I think he would be fantastic.
If
in
he
it.
played the guy cutting the onions and the onion itself,
And the knife.
and the knife and the cutting board,
The
I would be
cameraman,
thoroughly
everything.
enjoying.
Oscar
It's like The
award-winning.
Room, but
Yes.
Evan Peters cutting an onion.
But I'd have to lean on Flash. I'll have to say, I think Flash wore it better.
Well, you know, Quicksilver, it depends on how you look at it, I think. Just like any of them. Flash is probably more recognizable. Flash has a great TV show. Grant Gustin is the Flash, who's great.
A great guy.
Love him. Quicksilver has had his moments too, though. You know, I think he stole the show in the Fox X-Men movies.
Yes.
Days of Future Past with his little slow motion scene, and they play the music and everything. That was killer. That was like
What was the first one? Time in a Bottle?
Time in a Bottle.
Time in a
The
Bottle.
second one was in the
Was-
Pentagon, and then
yeah.
the second one was Sweet Dreams
Dreams
Are
are made. When he
Yeah.
saves the people in the exploding. He wasn't given enough moments in Dark Phoenix,
Yeah.
which
We like to pretend like that one.
We
didn't
don't
happen.
talk about Dr. No, we don't talk about
That
it.
must not be named.
the Voldemort of cinema.
You know, I love Magneto, so his connection to Magneto gives him some points for me. We did not get enough of him in the MCU.
That is true.
He'll be returning in something, maybe one of the shows on Disney+.
I'm thinking WandaVision.
I think
That would make
WandaVision.
sense.
If not WandaVision, I could see, because she's also in Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange.
That's true.
She is in it. So I wonder if somehow, multiverse, maybe she runs into another.
Well, also in Endgame, when they took back the Infinity Stones, maybe something happened.
That we didn't see.
Yet we didn't see. Because if Cap can go back in time and change his timeline or whatever.
There are a lot of people who can change their timeline.
There's a lot of people that
especially Scott.
That opens up.
Scott could mess a lot of things up with that power.
Yeah, but I don't think that he really enjoyed the time travel thing.
No, he
because
didn't.
He got turned into a baby and an old man and everything.
Yeah.
And he also learned that time travel rules apparently suck.
Yeah.
They are lies.
Peed in my pants.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was me.
There's a whole conspiracy about, like, if they go back in time, could they save, like, Quicksilver? They can save...
Lord, they could save everybody.
Black Widow. Like, can they bring them back?
I don't think that they can bring Black Widow back. I think that it has to be some soul has got to be in the place
I think
there.
they can go back
and
to get her.
But I think that would create some sort of big tear.
Multiverse of madness.
Multiverse of madness.
Yeah.
I just don't think that Black Widow should.
I think Black Widow coming back would be okay with me as opposed to Tony coming back. If Tony had come back, then I'd be like, oh, I cried for nothing.
I don't want to cheat him. I don't want to cheat him to his death, I don't
Every
want
time.
him to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, but your vote.
I don't know. Tara?
I'm 100% Quicksilver. I do thoroughly enjoy The Flash. I love The Flash. I actually met Teddy Sears, who's in The Flash, at Comic-Con this past year. Super sweet guy. But
Teddy plays Wally.
Yes.
Wally West.
Yes.
Also a very talented singer.
Yeah, he is. And he was also in American Horror Story Season 1.
No.
Yeah. He was one of the previous owners of the murder house with the leather suit. He was the guy that was emailing Jungle Jim.
Oh my gosh.
Is Murder House Season 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But Quicksilver, aside from the MCU, I'm pretty sure he's coming back. Actually, I put money on that. He's coming back. I thoroughly enjoy...
He wasn't given enough.
Yeah. X-Men, the X-Men franchise. I must say I have more pop figures of the Quicksilver than the Flash. So I do. So I'm going Quicksilver on this.
I can't say that because I have a Flash pop. I don't have a Quicksilver pop. Actually, I have 2 Flash pops. I've got the Jim Lee thing too. But you know what? I'm going to pull for the home team here. I'm going to go Quicksilver. Most people will disagree with this.
I know.
I think maybe we're being biased. But you know what? We can do what we want.
I think you're playing the long game here.
You can't prove that.
Yeah. Okay.
That brings us to our 10th and final pairing.
I could wish you both luck on this one. If you want to cause some uproar, you go right ahead. DC's Batman, which debuted in 1939.
And on the other side, we have Marvel's Moon Knight from 1975.
Batman's real name is Bruce Wayne.
Moon Knight's real name is Mark Spector, and Mark Spector is no carbon copy of Bruce Wayne, I might add. Some would argue that Tony Stark is closer, but you cannot deny Moon Knight's similarities to the Dark Knight.
I will concede to that. Bruce Wayne, I would say is more like Tony Stark. Tony Stark's more like Bruce Wayne. But at the same time, Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne are very different also. I don't think Bruce Wayne has got the ego that Tony has. Does that make sense?
I think...
but the billionaire...
on camera for appearances, Bruce Wayne does, but deep down, real Bruce Wayne does not.
Yeah.
Also, Lego Bruce Wayne has the same ego. Just putting that out there.
True. Will
Lego
Arnett.
Bruce
Lego
Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
You didn't see the Lego Batman movie?
Yes, he did. You didn't?
No.
How dare you?
Was that the one that Arnett voices?
Yes, that's the one with Zach Galifianakis' Joker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
son.
No,
the cinematography.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
My favorite part of that was when it showed all the different Batmans through the years.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Yeah,
You'll see.
the finest cinema. It's hilarious.
I still like the Lego movie better than Lego Batman.
I like Lego Batman.
Did see Lego Movie. That's the one with Will Ferrell in it.
Yeah.
And Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Chris Pratt. Yep.
Yep, gotcha. So, moving on. Both men are driven by vengeance. Both men have accumulated wealth that helps them fight the evil. They both rely on skill, smarts, gadgets, and have no superhuman abilities to speak of.
Although their alter egos are obvious parallels, the men are not too different under the disguises either. Both Bruce and Mark are the masks, while Batman and Moon Knight are who the guys really are.
Bruce Wayne is a genius, but also kind of crazy. This has been a subject of debate for years, and actually debated on by psychologists.
Mark Spector is basically the broken psyche taken one step further, with him slowly descending into actual madness.
All right. Obviously, I'm going to go with Cape Crusader. Batman worked better. I think his story arcs, there's a reason that he is remembered. I think that even the people who have tried to delve into Moon Knight don't last with Moon Knight because it's not as compelling. Mm-hmm. And I think that, of course, it could be the failure of the people who created Moon Knight, the failure of how Moon Knight was marketed, commercialized, however. Maybe Moon Knight show will, help it out.
The people who know and love Moon Knight, really, really love Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So he does have a little cult following.
He does.
He does, yeah.
I would also make the argument that even if you want to say that Moon Knight was stolen from Batman, there's a Batman character who's a lot like Moon Knight, Azrael. He reminds me a lot of Moon Knight.
Of the clan of Dumas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gosh, yes. Absolutely.
So, depends on how you want to look at it. But you've cast your vote for Batman.
Azrael's crazy, too.
I can't take it away from Batman, so I have to say Batman on this one.
I'm trying to think of an argument, but I can't. Yeah, Batman, iconic character. Iconic movies, iconic TV shows.
Iconic villains.
Iconic villains.
Story.
Best villains in the DC universe.
Absolutely.
That is true, yes.
I would even venture to say some of the best villains in comic book history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going on bias of the Joker. I mean, I love Mad Hatter.
The Riddler.
The Penguin.
Even Clayface. I love some of the stuff Clayface, they do with Clayface.
Yeah.
Two-Face.
The whole group.
His whole
clan.
rogues gallery.
Harley Quinn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I do love Harley.
Yeah.
So
those are our 10.
And final score.
Yeah, what's the final score?
Final score is 5-5.
Oh.
Man. Tie.
I don't know what to do in this instance. Flip a coin?
No, we're not flipping a coin. You leave that up to chance. We could maybe in season 2, which is right around the corner, do a who's still wearing it better.
You never know with us.
We could do it in seasons. This is winter. Who wore it better? Spring. The spring edition. Or we could call it Walking the Catwalk with DC and Marvel. Pick 10 different ones.
Project Runway.
Nerdway. Project Runway, DC Marvel. Could.
Hey, whatever.
Or vote.
Something like that.
What do you think? People could vote?
Yeah.
People could vote.
Yeah.
People can vote.
I
Facebook
think
polls.
we're going to get trashed. Tara and I are going to get trashed for choosing Quicksilver over the Flash.
I
think
mean,
there
yeah.
was some extreme bias in those eyes.
You cannot
I'm sitting
prove that.
beside you.
You
and
cannot
you looked
prove
at the
that.
score
You
and you were
cannot
like,
prove that.
I don't doubt. Quicksilver, definitely for you. I don't doubt that. But you probably went,
That's fair.
this would make them tie. It's a better outcome than DC winning.
Come on. I would never do something like that.
Yeah, you would never do anything like that in a million years. You're so clean cut, Marvel man.
So we'll let the people decide.
Yeah.
You can hit us up, tell us who should have won in this little
Did JD have
competition.
bias? Did JD.
No, that's not what
Throw.
they're... No.
His email is at...
No. The question is, who wore it better, the DC heroes or the Marvel heroes overall? We had a tie. Okay. You all break the tie. You tell us who wore better.
Absolutely. I'll agree to that. I will concede to that. So those are our 10. There could be some out there. I mean, like we've said, there's a copious amount of people who are similar.
Yeah.
Even some that you could even go back to, like Blue Beetle and and Iron Man. Iron Man and Steel. Iron Man and Batman. Like, there are so many different groups that you could kind of find similarities in. You could even do whole groups. X-Men and Doom Patrol. Justice League and Avengers. I mean...
Marvel won both of those, so we can go ahead and do that one if you want.
You didn't mention Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Marvel still wins, though.
Yeah. Compare it to anything.
Suicide Squad and the Brotherhood. Brotherhood would win.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry. But hey, we can still do that if you want.
No.
And we can also have, like, who wore it better too, the villains version.
Oh, that's true.
Darkseid and Thanos.
Yeah. So we'll ponder on that a little bit.
There will be pondering going on. Next week?
Next week. I'm looking forward to it. Next week we're going to have Stream Wars 2. There's no better time to have a discussion like this than right after Disney Plus's release. We had Stream Wars 1 several months ago.
When it was just news.
Yeah, it was a pretty successful, popular episode that we had. Yeah. Lots of people who aren't as into the nerdy stuff, but still, are into streaming and all that. They took a lot of interest into it.
Because it's the wave of the future.
Exactly. And we will have lots of great things to discuss, lots of information for you.
Absolutely.
And,
please send in thoughts, questions. If you listen to this, and I really have a feeling that this could possibly... We haven't had one in so long, but when he listens to this episode, we may get a rant. He's going to either rant to me for not siding with this, or rant to you for not siding with this, or he might even be like, "Who's Tara? I should be on the show."
Yeah. I can see the text messages now. Bro, you picked Quicksilver over the Flash. What's wrong
That's
with
obvious bias. Yeah. Which,
you can't prove it.
So please send in those questions and thoughts. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Without you, we could not have the time of our lives doing this.
Also, make sure that you check out Bueller's Day Off podcast. That's a play on Bueller.
Bueller.
His name's Patrick Bueller, and that will drop tomorrow.
Yep, great guy.
Which means it'll already be out by the time you hear this.
Yeah, and also be looking for our Mandalorian Mondays, where we're going to talk about the new Mandalorian show. You can definitely get your fix on that. And we're going to talk about episodes 1 and 2 on the first one, which should probably be out by the time you hear this.
Absolutely.
And from that point on,
it will only be available for Patreon
exclusive
supporters.
To the Patreon people.
Absolutely. Tara, thank you so much.
Tenacious Tara.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tenacious T.
Tenacious T. And the pick of
nerdity.
We'll work on that.
So anytime someone joins us, we give them gifts. So you get
it's tradition.
You get a
tradition.
Oh, cool.
You get a trucker hat. You get a very exclusive. No one else gets these shirts. It says "Cheers to you" on the back, 30 and Nerdy on the front. And also, we hope you will put this on your vehicle.
I definitely will.
Yes.
Show all the people in Savannah.
Yes.
Yeah. Make sure all the SCAD people are,
tuning in.
Yeah.
And maybe this will even get some new listeners because they like Tara more than us.
Who doesn't?
I do. I like Tara more than I like me. So, thanks again for joining us. This was fun. And we're always welcome back to the Fortress. So, Brett, I think that's about it.
I think that's all we got. And with that, we will catch you nerds later.
But, we... yeah.
Sorry, I was a little slow on the draw on that one.
Sergeant sound effect over here.
You've been listening to the 30 and Nerdy Podcast with your hosts, Tyler McDaniel and Josh Davis. Brought to you by Encore Theatrical Company, Akita Express, Creative Theater, and Advertising Expressions. Find us, follow us, and like us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Visit our website, 30andnerdypodcast.com. Got something to tell us? Drop us an email, 30andnerdypod@gmail.com. Until next time, cheers to you, nerds!